Jacob Hendricus Maris was a Dutch painter, who with his brothers Willem and Matthijs belonged to what has come to be known as the Hague School of Painters. He was considered to be the most important and influential Dutch landscape painter of the last quarter of the 19th century. His first teacher was the painter J.A.B.Stroebel, who taught him the art of painting from 1849 to 1852. Jacob Maris. His most known works are the series of portraits of the royal house of Orange. He worked on these with his brother Matthijs Maris. He is also known for his portraits of landscapes like Ship on the Scheveningen and Beach Life. When he was 12, he took some art lessons and later enrolled in the Hague Academy of Art. From 1850 to 1853, he attended this highly ranked art university. An art dealer recognized his talent and saw to it that Jacob was able to work in the studio of Hubertus van Hove. He painted interiors as well as figurative and genre works. The Van Hove took Maris under his wings and was not only his boss but also his new teacher. The Van Hove moved to Antwerp and the 19-year-old Maris went with him. This relationship continued until his brother Matthijs received a royal subsidy and joined Jacob. Together they rented space which also had room for the friend Laurens Alma Tadema. They took lessons at the Antwerp Academy and were able to sell some of the works. After this he traveled through Germany, Switzerland and France in 1861. Like many of the Hague School alumni, Jacob Maris had enormous success in the Netherlands and abroad. He sold the biggest part of his paintings to private collectors in the United States and in Scotland. In 1857, Jacob Maris returned to The Hague, but Matthijs stayed another year in Antwerp before he again shared a studio with Jacob in The Hague. After they had earned enough money by copying 8 royal portraits, they were able to go to Oosterbeek where they met Johannes Warnardus Builders, his son Gerard, and others who later play important parts in the Hague School. The brothers also went on a study trip together to Germany, Switzerland and France. When the money was spent, they again moved in with the parents and Jacob took more lessons at the Hague Academy of Art. In the summer of 1864, Jacob again went to Oosterbeek and possibly to Fontainebleau and Barbizon. Following this trip, he lived in Paris from 1865 till 1871, and then returned to the Netherlands when the Franco-Prussian War broke out. In The Hague, he became a strong landscape painter, painting rivers and landscapes with mills and towpaths, and beach views with fishing boats. His stroke became broader and larger and his use of color became more subdued and directed towards portraying the atmospheric depiction of clouds. This part of has been compared to the 17th century painters Jan van Goyen, Jacob van Ruysdael and Johannes Vermeer. His way of working has been described in the following way. They say that he paints first and draws only afterwards. He applies the paint thickly, builds it up, fiddles around and messes with it all, gradually developing a harmony of colors that establishes the major directions. Only then does he complete his figures with lively, thin brush strokes. But the final touch is done with a master stroke, and in the end the entire work is as solid as the tightest drawing. Also, M. Philippe Zilken said, "No painter has so well expressed the ethereal effects, bathed in air and light through floating silvery mist, in which painters delight, and the characteristic remote horizons blurred by haze, or again, the grey yet luminous weather of Holland. Unlike the dead grey rain of England or the heavy sky of Paris." In 1871, Maris became a member of the Pulcry Studio and would fill various administrative positions there. It was only after 1876 that he experienced any renown in the Netherlands, and from 1885 on he was a celebrated painter. As a leader of the Hague School, his influence was enormous. Nevertheless, Willem de Zwart and possibly Bernard Blommers had been his only students. When he was in his 60s, Maris began to suffer from asthma and corpulence. At the advice of his doctors, he went to take the waters at Carlsbad, where he suddenly died on the 7th of August 1899. He was buried in The Hague.